I know it's going live, but I got the wrong window open to get the link. God damn it. Did it go live yet?
Yes.
Oh, we're live. Great.
12 seconds.
I hope nobody's here. Everybody's here. What'd your mom say?
Okay. Now it's here on my end. We're doing the thing.
We're doing a thing and a thing with a thing. We're all good. All right. I'm just trying to get the YouTube link. That way we can send it out to whoever the hell wants to actually join us and talk this shit. I haven't listened. So we are on, I'm not sure if you know this, Victor, but we are on Spotify now. And we're also on like Apple. I don't know what the hell I even call it. But Apple has like, I guess it used to be iTunes, whatever their
TV.
program's called now. So like now our vocal audio podcasts are on those and a bunch of other podcast platforms now, which is pretty cool. That way people can go and listen to us while they're driving. You can't sit there and have a video on because you don't want the cops to pull you over and shoot you. Like,
Okay.
so we got that going for us.
That got
That's,
dark really quickly.
I mean, that's pretty cool. That's good. That's very good.
Thank you, Victor. It's like I was just worried about one part of that whole thing. So,
I mean,
um,
like it just seems a little dark.
We
I mean,
can't pretend like it
I feel
doesn't
like that
happen,
sometimes.
but let's not derail this
Um,
before we even start.
yeah, no, we keep that off this show. Psycho, do you need the link or do you
I already
have
got it.
now?
I'm sending it out right now.
All right, cool. Sent out there. Boom, we're in. We're good. Gravy. Nobody's in the chat, so we'll start anyways. Fuck it. Welcome to Collector's Hideout, the podcast where we get together and talk shit about different topics of the week. Really, there's no rhyme or reason, just kind of what we feel like talking about. But we do it to get away from the real world and all the nonsense going on until, like, this episode where the real world fucking affects what we enjoy. Not getting into bullshit in the real world, but we're getting into the video game aspect of it. Because as anybody who's not even in the video game world anymore, which I'm not, I've still heard about this left and right. Every other post on Facebook, every little video that pops up in my feed where I'm scrolling pops up about it. So we're talking about video games and the bullshit Sony's trying to pull. But before we get into that, let me introduce my guest, my host, my co-host in this case, Psycho. You're here. Thank you, brother, for coming.
Awesome.
Even though you're
to be
always here.
Awesome to be here.
And then we're also joined tonight by, God damn it, Kid Mechanate. Fucking, you and that goddamn name, Victor.
You had it
Victor's
right
here.
once.
I did have it right once.
You
I
got it
can't
one
remember.
time. It was recorded. It exists.
All right, I'm just going to go back and find that recording, clip it, and just have a button for it next time you're here.
Perfect.
God, like I look at the name, I was like, it doesn't look right to my eyes, my brain.
It trips up a lot of people. I get it.
Go ahead,
But-
Victor. Pronounce it.
Machinate.
Oh, Machinate. That makes sense. There's no E because I said Mechanate and there's an A. Duh. Fucking man, that's Florida education system. So
Hey, relax. Relax.
Florida education system. Got it. This is not a world that I'm really in anymore because obviously I don't really game as much as I used to. My most recent systems an Xbox One, and I think a PS3. I don't think I ever even got the 4. But Sony's up to some bullshit. And Psycho, you requested this tonight, so have at it with those nuts in your mouth. Let's go.
It's a candy bar, so I don't know what you're talking about, but
It's a Snickers.
okay.
It had nuts in it. Let's go.
It's not
Yeah.
a Snickers.
You know, because that was said.
He's got a tub of nuts.
But they're not in my mouth, so you know.
Not
on.
yet.
Yes. Victor just keeps a jar of his enemy's nuts on his desk.
Oh, all right.
Let's do this shit.
All right.
Movie
So,
sucks. All right, good enough episode. Have a great night, guys.
all right. I promise to not devolve into just saying that Sony sucks because I know that Victor gets mad when I do
You
that.
cannot make that promise, sir.
I'm gonna make that promise. I'm not gonna do that.
All right, John, starting off a liar. Moving on.
Listen,
Should we
I said-
put a little counter in the side how many times John lies and just or how many times he says they suck? One or the other. Or can
That'd
we
be quite
drink?
interesting
Every time he
episode.
says Sony sucks, we all take a shot and we'll be dead within an hour, but let's do it.
I don't think that that's accurate at all, actually. No, so I think that this topic is incredibly important. I know that you don't play video games much anymore at all, but everyone else in our friend group does. I don't think it's a stretch to say that everyone in Victor's friend group, for the most part, does, right? And we are the video game generation. I mean, people older than us had an Atari, and then the video game industry died. And it wasn't until the NES that video games really started coming back. And so I think when you have something like this, which is going to monumentally change the way that video games are produced and sold, it's
Yo,
incredibly
Joe.
important to discuss that. And so, like Chris already said, the topic tonight is the
I
decision.
thought you were going to say, like he already said, Sony sucks. That's where I thought you were going.
No. The topic tonight is Sony's comments yesterday that by January of 2028, they will no longer be producing physical media at all. Everything that they do, all of their games, any game for their systems will only be digital. That's it. And if I could be wrong about this, but I do believe that that's about the time frame that we had for the launch of the PS6 is 2028. So that's it's quite a statement to make, right?
So I mean, just for layman's terms, right? Just for people who might not be fully into the whole thing. So they're claiming they're going to get rid of physical discs altogether. So everything's going to be downloaded.
Yes.
Right. Unless they have like a stream, was it Steam service or whatever, like that type of thing where you can play it through an online platform. Because what I'm worried about, and I don't get with the game thing, but I haven't seen anybody mention this part yet. But it's the problem I've been having with even the Xbox One is that in order for me to play Borderlands, I have to load it onto my hard drive, right? And then it plays from the disc, but it has like all the files in the hard drive. So if every game you have now, you have to download the entire thing onto the hard drive. It's not even like a smaller version so you can play. Your hard drive is going to fill up quick because some of those games are hundreds of gigs.
Yep.
So you're going to get a system that might have a 1 terabyte card in it or hard drive, whatever the fuck they call them, have 1 terabyte memory, and you're going to get like 7 games. You're going to be maxed, and you can't buy anything else.
And probably not even 7. Probably close.
I was going by just the whole like 100 gigs per game type of thing, just a rough number. But like then at that point, you need to either have extra hard drives to be able to swap in and out with the games you want to play, or you have to decide what game's important to you.
Yeah.
Like that's more stressful than back in the days of like N64 when you had your memory card that only had so much space and you had to delete shit to continue to save on it. Like that's really stressful. Because at least those memory cards are like $20, you get another one.
Yeah.
Yes.
But I mean, when you think about it, the GTA 5 right now is 118 gigs just for the base game. Right? And so it's quite a lot. and people are speculating that GTA 6 is going to be somewhere around 250 gigs.
Okay.
Nice.
But
Nice.
it has an initial download of 676.7 gigs.
God damn.
Yeah. And so when you mentioned the 1 terabyte hard drive and people only being able to get a certain amount of games, it's a big deal, especially, and we'll get into this as well, but especially with how expensive memory has become over the last year. Right? So,
I thought we were about to watch Victor get murdered. Somebody walked in his camera. I thought this was a new movie.
and so, I mean, I guess just to kind of dive right into it, and Victor, you can interrupt whenever you want, and Chris, you can interrupt whenever you want.
Well, I don't agree. So
Good. It's scary, right? Like the comment alone from Sony, hey, we're going all digital, in and of itself is a scary thing. But when you couple that with the fact that the day before Sony made this announcement, they also told a bunch of people that they were getting rid of movies that the people paid for on their consoles, that Sony was deleting all of them. And this is after promising those people that they would never do that. They did it anyway. And it's like, it brings into sharp relief what the concern is about digital only gaming, right? You don't actually own a product. You are leasing a product that the company then could take away whenever it wants to. And that's a problem. Because Sony, like I said, they used to have a digital storefront that sold movies on their PlayStation. And people were able to buy a bunch of these movies. And they essentially, when they closed their storefront down, people were worried, hey, what's going to happen to the movies that we purchased? Sony's like, listen, we're never taking those away from you. Those are yours. You paid for them. You're keeping them. As long as you have the space on your hard drive, you can keep them. You can re-download them if you need to. And then not yesterday, but the day before, Sony says, oh, by the way, we're actually going to go in and manually delete all of those from your consoles. You will no longer be able to store them on your console. You will no longer have any access to them whatsoever. And these are things that people paid significant money for, right? And now it's just gone, and they have no access to it. They're getting no kind of store credit. They're getting nothing, and they no longer own the things that they paid for, allegedly, for all time, right? And then the next day, Sony's like, oh, yeah, by the way, we're getting rid of physical media completely, too. You're going to have to buy everything from us digitally. And those two things back to back, it's scary. So you're asking me to spend $80 for a game or $100. Let's be fair. Now that GTA 6 is essentially forcing you to pay $100 for a video game, you're paying a lot of money for a game that now they can just take away whenever they feel like it. When they've decided, oh yeah, guess what? We're done. We can take it away.
So, just out of curiosity, are you going to buy GTA 6?
Am I going to buy GTA 6? Probably, yes.
Then you need to shut the fuck up. So, okay. and that's funny. I said it because it was funny. But in reality, you have these concerns, right? And you don't like what they're doing. But you're going to buy it anyways, which is just going to feed into them. Yo, we're good. If people didn't buy in mass numbers, the people who are all pissed off about this didn't buy, it would probably make them reconsider. But the fact that all these people are being vocal, which is by all means rightfully be vocal as you want, they're still going to buy the shit. Sony's still going to win. They don't give a fuck. They're going to be dancing all the way to the bank with getting $100 a game from every person mad. Then not have to give you anything except for a bunch of zeros and ones.
Well, see, I don't know that I'm going to buy GTA 6 when it first comes out. I don't know that I'm going to spend that money on it to get that. Am I going to get it eventually? Absolutely. Right? And it's an interesting thing because if I'm being honest, I buy most of my Xbox games digitally. And the only time I buy a physical game is if it has some sort of collector's edition that I want. I do buy all of my Nintendo games physically. And so part of that is because I collect Nintendo games. And up here, I wish I could highlight things that people say, but I can't. Um, Joe said no one collects physical games anymore, like DVDs, Blu-rays, and VHS.
Well, yeah, I already highlighted. I was going to touch on that a little bit later,
But
just not to go off track.
I mean,
there's a whole other side. Like I don't try to cut people off, so
Yeah.
I've kind of been waiting. But
Yeah.
there is the whole other side of things that's been mentioned in chat with like PC gaming and being like used to digital and all that.
yeah. And I mean, I'll tell Joe, I still buy all my movies physically. I prefer physical movies. I think that they're better quality. I think that they look better, they sound better, because I notice a difference when I'm streaming compared to when I'm watching from the disc.
So,
So
just real quick, because something that Joe did say, right? And I think because you touched on it already, one of the big problems when it came to the movie side of this, right? Is that Joe? Yeah, you said it right here. That you live in a license. He says we live in a world where of high speed internet, low cost storage. I own the license. It's not going to impact the masses. But when you're buying something like they were doing with the movies, you own the movie, you bought it, it's on your drive, and then Sony's coming through and deleting the shit that you bought. So now you no longer have access to it. You can't get it anymore. That's a problem, right? That's where I think there's a disconnect in what Joe said. Maybe I'm misinterpreting what he said, but if you buy a game, and he also said that PC gamers have been doing this for past 10 years. They haven't bought a disc game in 10 years. Right. But if whatever service you're using, whoever you bought the game through, they opted like, you know what, guys, fuck it. We're getting rid of the game. Now you can't play it at all, even though you paid hundreds of dollars for or however much a PC game costs these days. You can't play it anymore. It's gone. That's a problem. That's not like they just turned off a server where you can still play single player mode. They just remove the entire thing. That's an issue. Now, do I think Sony's going to, in 10 years, be like, hey, guys, you know what? GTA 6, gone, and cut it from their service so you can't play it ever again? I don't think that'll ever happen. But the thought that it could happen is also very problematic, though. What if they just have they have a problem in their server system that erases people's shit on accident, not on purpose, but a glitch happens. And you have thousands of people lose their game because of a glitch because of that. Also, like there's a lot of issues you can have.
I mean, Joe's comment is get faster internet, and I mean, I have a terabyte, right? The speed that I have is pretty fast, or a gig or whatever the hell it is. Like I have a good speed.
But I don't understand what faster internet would do if, say, Sony's like, fuck you, we're deleting it out of your system. Faster internet's not going to do anything.
Well, so he's not responding to that.
Okay. I don't understand.
He's responding to the comment I made when I said I prefer physical media. I think it looks better.
Gotcha.
He's telling me to get better internet, but it's not about that. I have good internet speed.
Right. Okay, so here we go. But Joe, they did it already. That's the problem. That they just deleted 500 movies from their service that people had paid for and have. They deleted it and now they're gone. So
there are no legalities. If Joe were to read the licensing agreement, it says that they could remove whatever they want. If you actually go and you read that licensing agreement, it says that you just hold a license to it. They own it, and they could make changes to it or get rid of it if they feel it necessary. So, like you're paying for temporary usage, but you're paying full price.
So this is the thing. I'm going to weigh in a little bit here because PC gamers absolutely take this for granted, right? Because like but it's also a fair point. They've been doing this for forever, right? Um, like, do I miss the days of when Blizzard didn't suck and actually made battle chests for their IPs, which were respected at one point? Absolutely. There were some of the better collector's editions out there. They were a big deal. Like you could actually hold these things in your hand and like you pull them out. It's a great value to get into whatever franchise, and you get a bunch of goodies with it. So like that's a big deal, but it hasn't been the case for forever. We all have giant, or anyone that uses the service anyway, has a giant backlog they tend to forget about on Steam. It's been the case for years and it just keeps building, right? That's all digital. You don't own any of that because at the end of the day, this is all licensed stuff that can eventually be taken down. So it does present an interesting question where it's like, how much do we really care about this? And do we necessarily want to vote with our wallets? Now, not to spoil anything, but we're not going to speak with our wallets. We're absolutely going to enter a digital future. We're going to buy GTA 6, to not to rub salt in the wound, but that's what's going to happen, right? GTA is the type of game that has the type of legacy that people that don't even give a fuck about games will just go and buy a console to play that game. You're not someone who's not necessarily in tune with all the gaming news and whatnot. They'll just go, fuck it, let me get a PS6 because they'll remaster the shit for it. Let's go get a PS6 and buy GTA for it, right? And not even care about any of this. This may very well only be something that's like a generational thing, right? Like future generations don't necessarily give a crap because they didn't grow up with this shit. So that's like the opposite view. Obviously, that's not where I'm at, but it's something to consider. And with the whole storage space thing that was mentioned, yeah, it's going to get even worse than it already is. Like in current day, we already have like, this comes with a terabyte, and like a third of that is used by the OS. So if you do everything digital, yeah, you can only put so many games. And if we're going purely digital, then that's going to be even more of a problem.
And it was interesting because something Joe says like, it gets stored there, so uninstall it and reinstall it when you want to play it. But then I sit there and I think about the times that I've had to just do like a system update on my Xbox. Like that shit took like fucking sometimes like an hour and a half just to download the goddamn system update. Yep. So I can't imagine anytime I want to play a video game, like, you know what? I feel like playing this game. Let me go and completely uninstall one and completely install another game. By the time it's done, I'll be in my grave. Like, come on. That's just not good.
I mean, and we talked about something similar a couple of months back when we talked about how expensive games were getting and how expensive consoles were getting. And most of us were like, yeah, at $1,000, we're out, right? Like, that's it, I'm out. And it's kind of like the consoles are already there now. And what's interesting is a couple of years ago, last year, I was looking at one of those 4 terabyte memory cards for my Xbox Series X. And it was like $300. And I was like, man, I should get this. I really need the space in my console. And I didn't buy it, and now that same card is like $600. And it's just absolutely ridiculous. And it's not going to get better.
It's always good to have options, right? And the thing with that is with consoles, we're behind in the sense that in the same way like Nintendo's usually 2 generations behind graphically than everybody else. The console market is behind like latest tech. And this is where I say like PC takes this for granted, right? Because they already have all the fancy things. Whereas we don't get that as quickly, like provided there is custom tech for consoles that sometimes comes before it comes to PC. But for the most part, you can almost always, and for less money, mind you, as well, make a PC that will completely crush whatever consoles on the market. And the value machine, which is no longer that, the Steam machine, it was called the Steam box, but the Steam machine, right? Like that went up significantly. It's no longer the value it once was, and there's two different tiers of it. But even so, that value is no longer there. People are, and as we go further and further into territory where you're losing your options on a console, it just makes more sense to get a comparable PC that you'll spend less on that's going to do that much better. Or if you want to be on the go, you get yourself a handheld gaming PC. Or not necessarily a handheld gaming PC, like a handheld PC, like a Steam Deck or a ROG Ally, or a Legion Go, any of these things, because there's like 20,000 of them now. There's companies that make just straight up retro ones that try to copy like the handheld era of like the DS and like the clamshell SP, Game Boy SP, like that. I think the company's Ambernatic, like their whole brand is based off of this shit. That's because everyone's going back because everything's just becoming way too expensive. The RAM apocalypse is fucking us all.
And it's only going to get worse, according to Microsoft. So,
which is funny. So, like, perfect segue, right? You do this a lot. I don't know if it's intentional, but it just works.
I do what I can, man. I'm a good host.
So, the focus is absolutely going to be Sony, and I have data that's going to get into this whenever we get to it. But like this whole digital thing, you mentioned the Xbox One, which is an interesting mention because that's where we started this potential. Let's just go all digital, and everybody fucking hated it. Was the guy's name? Was it Don Matrick at the time? Like we don't even talk about him anymore.
Yeah, like, I mean, I think that sounds right.
It put a permanent stain on the Xbox brand. Nobody wanted that shit. Nobody wanted the all digital future, even though a lot of people in some aspects were already doing that for different things. Yeah, nobody wanted that shit.
The console was announced with Force DRM.
Yep.
And all this other stuff, and people really rebelled, and that's kind of, in my opinion, what gave Sony the upper hand, because coming out of the 360 era, Microsoft was whooping Sony's ass. And then when they announced the Xbox One, they're like, oh, it plugs into your cable. It plugs into everything. It's got the Kinect. It's mandatory, right? It's got all this stuff. And people were very unhappy with it, right? And then people just started pre-ordering the PS4 and not the Xbox One, and it got so bad that guy was fired. They're like, yeah, no, he's got to go. Like we're replacing him. He doesn't. We're not doing this, and they had to kind of like completely change their launch strategy.
So there's a bunch of different things coming up, right? So you have getting rid of physical media, physical games, but then you also have the RAM issue, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then I've read something today that the creators of GTA are saying that they need to start charging people. They feel like they need to start charging essentially by how many play hours you get out of the game for value, and having prices fluctuate depending on how many actual game hours you can get out of a game and what they feel is good. So if you're paying $50, you should be able to get this many actual game hours. And if you have thousands of game hours, you could have to get charged more to be able to play it. Almost like you have to buy the game, then rent to play, depending on how much you play.
Yikes.
Yeah, I mean, and GTA is doing a lot of underhanded shit too. So, the base game is coming out at $80, right? But if you buy the base game, it locks content away from you. So there's stores that you're not going to be able to go into, which means that there's cars that you're not going to be able to get. There's clothing options that you're not going to be able to get. There's customization options that you're not going to be able to get. There's weapons you're not going to be able to get because if you just buy the base game, it locks these locations in game from you. To unlock all that stuff,
That's nothing new.
To unlock all that stuff, you have to buy the deluxe edition, which is more expensive.
Yeah, but that's nothing new, right? In all fairness of the world of gaming, that's just putting a paywall, right? DLC, whatever you want the collector's edition, you get extra content. Like that's nothing unusual as of what the past 10, 12, maybe 15 years since the company started getting real heavy on DLCs and having to pay extra to get all the unlockables and shit. Like that's just become like the norm for video games.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. Because what you're saying, like, I get it, but I think that this is a new level that we haven't seen before. Yes, there's DLC. Yes, there's special edition content, but never before has it been said, oh, all these stores in the game that you can go into, that you can spend money in, that you could do this. Well, now all that shit is locked for you. And it
No, I
just
understand that, but I'm just saying it's the same general idea. They're just taking it to another level, right? Where they're locking and in store, you can't walk into this building and do something because you're locked out. But
yeah.
but like that's not maybe to that level it's new, but the idea of that isn't anything unusual. That's what they've been doing. They just found a new way to do it. I mean, even the guys on I can't think of it, some comedic sketch group from I think New Zealand or some shit, wherever the fuck they're from. Um, they do they're like in a tech store or something. But one of the things was the guy's in the tech store wants to go buy this keyboard. He goes walking over to that side. And he's like, "Oh, you can't go over there because you're not this member." And he's like, "Well, you have to be like level 90 to be this member." Like it was a whole thing about you can't access certain parts of the store because you didn't pay this or you didn't do that. You know what I mean? So like, and that skit was from like a couple years back. Like this has been something going on. I think GTA though is just taking it to the next level that people are now noticing again because this is just sounds like paywall nonsense that's been around forever.
Yeah, and again, we've gotten all these announcements in a very short window, right? So GTA was like, "Hey, by the way, there's no physical editions. You can buy the game in a store, but it just is an empty box with a code in it, right? Like there's nothing in it, and that's just kind of how it is." And then it was like, "Oh, by the way, if you buy the base game, you can't do all this stuff." And then Sony's like, "Yeah, we're deleting your movies. Yeah, and we're also going to be all digital." So many things back to back to back over the last like week and a half. I don't know, man. For me as a gamer, it makes me worried because I don't have unlimited money. And I've never been a Sony fan. But it's like this sets a really bad precedent, in my opinion. I think that Sony is trying to determine exactly how far their licensing agreement stuff is going to go. I mean, it's like imagine spending $100 for a game and then 6 months later they decide they want to take it away and they take it away.
Well, that's what you and I were discussing earlier. I'd mentioned with I bought the Friday the 13th game, right? Where you can only play it online.
Yes.
They took down the server for, so now I can't play the game at all. Right?
Yeah. Yep.
So now it's just a fucking disc in a box.
Yep.
Which, okay, it is what it is. Luckily, when I bought it, it was on clearance for like $10, so I didn't lose on it. But still, I'm like, come on, like now I can't enjoy this game. So like there was ways of them doing that, like, and now it's just like they've got another tactic and another way to really screw people if they opted to. And like I said, I don't see them doing that with game or GTA. I don't think they'll ever be like, oh, sorry guys, it's gone. Because I feel like if they did that, there would be a mass
I
a
mean,
mass lawsuit, like a
Well, I mean,
huge
that and
class
there's
action lawsuit.
that and there's this huge gap of time between the releases, right? So like it would be stupid to take that down. And realistically, if they continue, and I don't know a ton about it, but if they continue like the things that they were doing in 5, which I assume are only going to get worse to like fuck people out of money in 6, they want to keep something up as much as possible that could be a potential cash cow for them.
Oh, for sure.
yeah, and I mean, and I don't think Sony's going to take away third-party games, right? I think that
Their own private titles.
I think that Sony would take away games that they made that are from studios they own that maybe are not producing, or maybe they decide aren't good. So like that zombie game that came out a couple of years ago, they made this huge deal about it at one of the E3s. I think Days Gone By or something like that. Does that sound right, Victor? The title of a game?
I mean, I think it's a zombie game, but I'm not familiar with it, to be honest.
Well, yeah. So it's like Sony made this huge deal about this game. It was going to be this next thing, and everybody was going to want it. And it came out, and nobody bought it. And the people that did buy it were like, "Wow, this game kind of sucks." You know, I can see Sony pulling that game, right? I can see Sony, maybe making a game that like Lair for the PS3.
I mean,
Fucking Lair.
so
but
basically what you're saying,
that game had some problems, but a lot of people liked it, and Sony complained about it. I could see them pulling that. And while I don't particularly care about that game, there were people who genuinely did. And so in that moment, sort of like, oh, well, this kind of makes us look bad. We're going to take it down. We're going to get rid of it. It's like,
so what you're saying is that Sony is able to do what the creators of ET wish they could do. And just fucking hit a button and delete all copies of that game instead of throwing them all in a landfill to be found 20 years later.
yeah.
Got it.
I want to randomly go back to because Gears of War was mentioned for like just get a Gears of War reboot and they'll be back in the saddle. We've been wanting this, or at least some kind of like packaging of the original trilogy, like put that shit on there. Do I think it'll get them back in the game? No, not necessarily, but people definitely buy the shit out of it. I also think they should reverse their assy decision because they definitely were planning to, just like with Gears remastered that nobody asked for, but they did it anyway, to put it on the PS5. They were definitely at some point, like it's proven, and they removed the footage or the watermark or whatever it was. There was a plan to put that shit on the PS5, and they decided, nah, we're not doing that no more. They should reverse that decision because so the Sony fanboys can have a physical version of Gears of War on their console before they can.
Yeah. And I mean, I think
and a collector's edition.
What you're talking about, Victor, was last year's Sony Direct or whatever State of Play or whatever they call their thing that was fill in for E3, where they also showed the cinematic trailer that Xbox showed.
Yep.
And it said, coming to PS5, and then the one that Microsoft showed on the bottom, it did say coming to Xbox Series and PS5. And then this year's trailer was like, yeah, we're not showing that because we're not doing that. But I mean, I honestly believe that is directly in response to Sony now announcing that they're pulling all of their games off PC as well. The only way you're going to be able to play any of their games is to buy their console. And I think that when they did that, Microsoft was like, okay, well then what's the purpose of us, getting rid of our exclusivity when you've, decided that you are canceling that.
So I do like that statement of like kind of forcing you into their economy, right?
Yeah.
So Nintendo is one of the big three. They've been doing that for years. And we do it like suckers. But the virtual console was great. Who misses the virtual console? I fucking do.
Yeah.
Right? But we got rid of that in favor of the eShop that is not monitored properly and allows porn games on it. Like a whole bunch of shovelware that nobody cares about.
So I need to get a Switch. What?
And I'll make you a ridiculous point, but like you can't. Those games are gone, right? You had to keep repurchasing those games.
Yep.
So, and you're also like forced to do it through them, unless of course yo ho, Pirate's Life for me, because that's the only other way.
I do like rum.
And if Sony doesn't think this whole let's go digital only isn't going to, I wonder how they're going to treat it, right? Because Nintendo's been known to be very heavy on their piracy stances, right? I wonder how Sony's going to treat this in an all digital world that you're being forced into. When people inevitably start pirating their shit because they're like, fuck this shit, I'm out. Between that decision and next gen consoles, no doubt being quad digits, how they decide to treat piracy on their end. But also alongside that, their decision before this to also pull, which I think some of their PC ports have done pretty well, but they're like, nah, we're not doing that no more either.
I mean, their PC ports have done very well based on what I was able to see. They just decided that if they don't port it to PC, because their thing was it's going to be a couple of years before we port it. That way people will buy our console to play it. But now they've just decided that no, it's not coming to PC, because if it ever goes to PC, it gives people reason to not buy our console. And they know that the console has gotten to the point where it's so expensive that people are holding off, right? Like a lot of people are PC gamers. A lot of people have PCs that will play games even if they're not PC gamers. And Sony's like, well, shit, by waiting a year or 2 years, we're still losing out. If we never do it, then they have to buy one of our consoles to play it.
So two things back to back that I want to kind of highlight in chat is that we're saying it's not fair to put the blame entirely on PlayStation for this one. And then also that the amount of people that think they own something just because they have it on disc is comical, which we did kind of get into earlier, right? Because even if you have a disc or even a cartridge, like realistically, you're downloading the shit online. It's just like a check to prove that you like own the game, which I have to put in quotes because that's all it is now. It's all
right. Because like if I go to play Borderlands, I have to have it on my hard drive to play it, right? Yep. If they decide they want to get rid of it, they can still take it from my hard drive, and then I can't do anything with the disc. Also, absolutely true. But you know what? They can't make me stop doing playing Mario Brothers 3 on my Nintendo. They can't take that away from me. Huh?
No, I was like, yeah, that's somebody. I think Victor was saying something about the Virtual Console, and I mean, I love the Virtual Console. I bought a ton of shit on the Wii, then I bought a ton of shit on the DS and the 3DS, and I repurchased games that I wish that I didn't have to repurchase. But at the end of the day, I'm not hurting for the Virtual Console the way some people are, because I'll just go to my fucking game library and pull the game out that I want to play and play it. I got the original console. I got the original game. I'll play it whatever I want to.
That's not the fucking point, though.
No. But what I'm saying is, it's like it goes to what you were saying, but it also goes to what Joe was saying. And people think that just because they have something physically, they own it. Well, if I want to put my Super Nintendo game in and turn it on, I can turn it on. Like, who the hell is going to stop me?
Let's not misquote what Joe said. Joe specifically said just because they have it on disc, right? He didn't say cartridge, which obviously cartridge, you're essentially good.
Yeah.
I guess the Switch though, that's small cartridges, right? And you can run into a similar situation with there. But cartridge, he didn't say. He said disc, and anything beyond Xbox 360 that does hold true, right? Because you have to have it downloaded into the system, which they can still pull and be assholes about. So I just want to misquote what he said. He never said cartridge games.
And Victor brought this up earlier. All these companies that are re-releasing retro consoles so that people can get the old games. I think that it's only a matter of time until we see Sony and Nintendo and even Microsoft making something that allows you to go back and play the old games because they don't want to lose out on the business, right? Like you look at a company like Analog creating these modern facsimiles of retro consoles that allow you to put them on HDMI TVs, that allow you all this different stuff. And I wouldn't be surprised if Sony and Nintendo and Microsoft are looking at this thinking, hey, this could be a source of money for us. It's crazy.
The thing about like not blaming Sony entirely, like I kind of see that, but the thing of it is that they fired the first shot, right? In the same way that Nintendo fired the first shot to test the $80 price point.
Well,
I would argue. Go ahead.
No, I think when he's saying it's not entirely fair to blame PlayStation for, is what the comment before that. He said that it wasn't PlayStation's decision. It had to do with the licensing agreements with the company that provides the films to PlayStation. So it wasn't them that's like, oh, we're going to pull these off. Whoever they license it through is like, fuck you, we're getting rid of these, and PlayStation can't do anything about that.
So
From the way he's reading it, I haven't researched it, but the way he typed it up here, and I think that's where that's what he's saying, which is why you can't really blame PlayStation for it if the people they get it from is taking it away.
Well, and that's a very fair point. Like, and I'll just show my bias here for what it is, right? Like, I'm not as much as like a movie buff as the other two here, so I don't even really like consider this stuff. It kind of like just goes past me. Like, if I was to consider that as a point, like, yeah, it's a good point. But I tend to focus on the gaming aspect of things, which that
fair
necessarily apply to.
And just to clarify for Joe, that's not what happened. Sony notified its licensing partners that they would not be paying the fee this year because they're just going to delete everything. So it's not like the licensing partners said, hey, we're taking all this stuff away. Sony has been paying a licensing fee every year, like every streaming service does, like every company does. And this year Sony decided, yeah, we're not paying that shit anymore. And that means we're deleting it from everybody's consoles.
Gotcha,
so
okay.
They absolutely could have paid it.
So context is key in this.
Yeah, like they made the choice to tell the licensing partners, we're not paying this year. We're just going to get rid of it so that we don't have to pay. And who gets screwed? The consumer, right? It's just unfortunate, but that's the way it is. Now, Victor was saying that he had data for this, so I want to give Victor an opportunity to bring that stuff up and talk about the data, and we can kind of go through that stuff.
Yes. So, and this is interesting because corpo is going to corpo, and people are going to lie all the time, right? But since Sony's kind of on the spotlight here, I think this is important to bring up. So let me see if I can do what I did the last time, and do. How do we do this? Can y'all see that?
Yep.
Cool. Okay. So
real quick, Victor, before you go any further, just Joe said something I want to touch that before you get into this deep dive here.
Okay.
So Joe, that's what I'm hearing from the way Psycho's saying. They opted not to renew. And yes, you said Netflix does it all the time. Absolutely. But the difference is you're paying a membership to watch Netflix. You're not buying each individual movie from Netflix, expecting to be able to watch it anytime because you paid for it. Whereas Netflix, they just offer movies, you can watch it, then they cycle them out as they need to. It's different because the ones on PlayStation, you paid for those movies to have on your system to be able to watch. And now they're gone versus Netflix, it's a service that they provide. You're not paying individual movies.
Yep.
Cool. Yes. I'm a genius sometimes. Sorry, Victor, go ahead.
No worries. So everyone, and provided, I don't know where the original quote came from. I think it was like an investor meeting, or it might be some old data. But regardless, the TLDR version is Sony fucking lied, and people are calling them out on it, right? So the post states, seen several quotes on PlayStation 78% digital full game sales, thus omitting important context. The figure includes countless digital-only releases from back catalogs to indie games, etc. Even Capcom revealed that 84% of its sales were older catalog titles, many of which are available digitally. So using such data is somewhat misleading. To gauge real physical demand, you need to look at splits of games that release both physical and digital only. Thanks to the Insomniac leaks, because everything leaks nowadays, we have such data on PlayStation first party games. So comparing physical to digital splits. Sackboy. Shut up, I know what you're thinking. 77.
I didn't know where Che was in this conversation. My bad.
77 compared to 23. Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart, 76 to 24. We can see these numbers are not close. Ghost of Tsushima, I assume that's director's cut, 71% compared to 29%. Demon Souls, I think that was a launch title for the PS5, 70% versus 30%. Miles Morales, 66 versus 34. Like the list goes on, right? Like you see it on stream. The exception to the rule, the only exception to the rule here being MLB The Show.
Which is interesting. It's the only sports title on the list.
Yes.
No, that almost makes me wonder if people, like, I don't know the prices, right? But in those instances, would the physical be a higher price than the download?
No, usually they're the same prices, unless you get one on a sale. Okay. But the sales usually come months after the game has been out and people have bought it. They're trying to get people to buy more of it.
Gotcha. Because I was going to say, because like for baseball, if they release a game every year, I can see people going for the download version. If it's cheaper, like, I'm going to buy another one next year so we can get the cheaper version and do it. Okay, never mind.
So yeah, I mean, I don't know I necessarily need to go through this whole thing because it's like pages worth.
Oh, Jesus.
Just going to... I mean, it's only a couple. Like, it's not a big deal. But Uncharted 4 specifically has an insane 83% physical split. So just people basically calling Sony out on their shit. Physical definitely does do well, regardless of what they want to tell you or what they want to sell you, more accurately. The Office is an interesting point because it does bounce around from provider.
Well, yeah,
that jumped ship like what, 3 times?
Yeah, but you're not paying for it to watch it on those streaming services. You're paying for the service, and it's just one of the things you can watch on whichever one pays for it at the time, and you want to watch Jim look at a camera.
Yeah, I just found it interesting. That's all.
Yeah,
because that series is just, it goes around.
I'm happy to never watch a single episode of that show.
I'm surprised because it's pretty damn funny at times. Especially the one with Asian Jim. Good times. But
my hot take for this episode is that show is overrated and unnecessary.
You know what? I would listen to your hot take and hey, it's a valid hot take if you'd actually ever watched a single episode. But if you've never watched it, I can't even accept that it's a hot take because you can't form an opinion on something you've never even seen. That
argument is false, but I'll let you have it.
All right. Well, so the neutral party, I tend to fit this role a lot here. I do agree with it being highly overrated.
No, I'm not saying it's not overrated. Just have an opinion if you've never watched it. It's kind of dumb.
No, I mean, like I said, I get it, but that argument in and of itself is a fallacy, right? Like, I don't need to be hit by a car to know I don't want to be hit by a car, right? Like, you don't have to experience.
Oh my God!
Well, no, but the point is, you don't have to experience everything to know whether or not you want to experience it or you're experiencing it.
No. I never said that you have to want to experience this and that. That's fine. If you don't want to experience, you don't have to. But to sit there and say something's overrated when you haven't experienced yet, to actually experience if it is indeed overrated to you, that's the disconnect. You saying, oh, people talk about it. Okay, yeah, people talk about it, people overpraise it, whatever. But you don't have a base to measure if it's actually overrated or if what they're saying is true because you've never witnessed it. You can watch one episode and think it's overrated. Sure, I guess I'll agree it can be overrated. Absolutely, I think it's funny. I don't think it's anywhere near as funny, but you need to at least experience it one time to be able to rate that. But to sit there and be like, oh, if you don't want to get hit by a car, that's just a completely idiotic comparison. Like nobody wants to get hit by a car.
Sure, but I mean, would you
Nobody-
say the same thing if I said I don't need to jump out of a plane to know I don't want to jump out of a plane?
No, because you don't want to jump out of a plane. But you know what I'm not saying? I'm not saying, hey, skydiving is overrated because I've never experienced it to be able to say it's overrated. I just know I'm not going to do it. Completely different thing. So, Victor, you were saying.
Yeah, I think I'm done with the Office thing. I'm just moving on for that at this point. Blu-ray discs are limited to 50 gigabytes. You want bigger games, you need to make them digital only, as we don't have media to support the size of the games coming. Fair enough, but maybe it's time to, I don't know, make something bigger. I don't know. I got nothing for that. It's a fair point.
I mean, but like they could just back off from discs, right? And they want to go digital, fine. That's the way they're going because that's the way the world's going, right? But they could go back to a chip system, a card system that you can get. They have terabytes the size of fucking your fingernail, like huge amounts of memory and very small items. Like you have ways to do it to get away from the discs because we've been getting away from discs for years. Like that's kind of been the progression of just getting away from a disc as even as far as movies go, right? They with the 4K, it's like they're still like everybody's kind of reaching the limit of what they can do with that. The same way they did with VHS. They reached that limit. Next thing you know, here comes Blu-ray. Now it's or DVD. Then they reach that limit. Here comes Blu-ray. Like we reach those limits. But going straight digital, I don't know if that's the right move for everything. And John and I also discussed earlier, and I think this is part of what we're running into. And Victor, let me know if you agree or not. But a lot of people that are in the younger generation under us, they're very much into the they don't like to buy stuff. They like the digital aspect. They don't care about shit, right? Digital. But it seems like the generation below them are going back to analog. Like they're getting away from the digital shit.
Yes.
So it's to me, it seems like these companies don't like flip a switch and change their whole business plan, right? It takes years of planning and years of research that they're saying that they feel it's smart to make this move. So I'm wondering if part of this is because of the generation under us, like, yo, we don't care about physical, that Sony's looking at them and like, all right, digital's on its way in because nobody wants physical. The younger generation doesn't want physical. So they're getting rid of it. Only now for the next generation, be like, yo, we want physical again. So I'm wondering if this is going to cause Sony in like 5-6 years to kind of switch back to producing physical the same way we got rid of CDs. But now if you walk into Walmart, there's CDs, there's goddamn records again. Like everybody got rid of the technology and now it's all coming back. So I'm wondering if video games are going to run that same course. 6, 7, maybe 10 years, all of a sudden, okay, you know what, guys? Here's your disc version of fucking GTA 6. Be happy. You got it.
I mean, and I will say this to go back to something Joe said a moment ago.
Okay.
He's talking about just standard Blu-ray discs at 50 gigs. But right now they have Blu-ray discs that hold 100 or 128 gigs, right? So more than double what a standard Blu-ray disc is, and those Blu-ray discs don't really cost more in the long run when you're producing on a large scale than the standard discs. And so it's like, yeah, eventually we're going to reach a point where we don't have the space on the current medium. But like you already said, Chris, that's why media changes, right? VHS, DVD, Blu-ray, like that's why these things change.
In fairness, though, we're already there. Because even when we consider the higher capacity Blu-ray discs, anyone want to tell me how big the latest Call of Duty is? I'll wait.
I have no idea.
Right? Like that disc is not cutting it. We need digital for that. Now, the fact that a bunch of it is fucking Warzone, which hot take, fuck Warzone, forced to install it and it takes up like the majority of the space, but whatever, that's a topic for another day. But we're already there. We just simply don't have the media to or the formats like the physical discs to hold these kind of things anymore.
Which that's where we're going, and that's where we're going. Like Joe took my comment about go back to a chip system where you could have like a 1 terabyte chip and just do it that way. But apparently, it would be $200 for a terabyte system to have a game on. Which, if that's the case, then yeah, it wouldn't make financial sense to go that route, right? But like that would be the only real option if you wanted to get away from discs but not do digital, would be to go back to some type of flash drive or some type of small memory system that's not a disc.
I think an interesting comparison to say like what you were talking about with maybe Sony considering like current generation people,
Right.
And I'm gonna go like a different way outside of gaming with this, but I think alongside that, Sony would also be underestimating our generation, and we might not be the generation to focus on per se, but like movies, they're not doing anywhere near as well as they used to. How are they somehow getting people sucked in? And I hate to use this because I think they're dumb as fuck, but you know what we have now in every fucking major movie? Popcorn buckets. Because we are a generation of nostalgia and we love our stuff. And even if it's dumb as fuck, or you can be Shao Kahn and wear it on your fucking head, you literally just remove the popcorn part, right? You remove the bucket and you could put this shit on your head. Well, let's spend 50 fucking bucks on it.
I didn't realize I was going to be personally attacked in this episode.
Right?
Jesus, Victor. Fuck.
But people do it, right?
There were a lot of Shao Kahns in that showing of Mortal Kombat 2.
Right. Right. That's my fucking point. And, the Yoshi one was kind of cute. He had the egg and he held it out and you get the popcorn out of it. But you buy these popcorn buckets and do you even use the shit at home?
You do not.
Right. Thank you for making my fucking point.
I sit on a shelf. One I have over here, but I can't reach it.
And I bought this one because it's awesome. To get your popcorn, you have to open it. You have to open the top, then assemble 2 keys, 2 parts of a key, then use that key to unlock the actual lid to open the lid to get to your fucking popcorn.
Right. The main point is we like stuff, even if it's dumb as fuck.
All right. First of all, Victor, I don't buy stuff. I buy cool shit. Okay, calm down.
Okay. I'm sure that's how we all justify whichever version of cool shit that we have.
There you go, cool shit, not stuff. This isn't a horror movie from the 70s.
All right, so you're talking about why Switch games cost so much, and why the hell the Xbox Series X and PlayStation games cost so much? Because they cost the exact same amount. Wouldn't you think from a corporate standpoint that if you could offer the same game as somebody else at a cheaper price, you're more likely to sell more of those units?
Segue for you this time. I'm actually going to give Nintendo some credit here because, they have, I think we saw this with Star Fox, and I don't know the pricing, so you can correct me on it. But I do think that even alongside the $80 price point, which didn't necessarily go as well, we'll see. They are with first party titles, they are releasing like physical editions, but then the digital is actually $10 cheaper.
Yes. And Star Fox was not full price. Star Fox was a $60 game, $50,
which I thought, but I didn't want to necessarily get that wrong. So
$50 digitally, or I think both Walmart and Amazon had the $50 price point on their physical game.
Yes. Now, Fire Emblem, I believe, is going to be their next $80 priced game, first party.
Yep.
But I think also in that case, and again, feel free to correct me, but I think that digital is also less, $10 less.
Yep. Which that was something that Psycho and I discussed earlier. I was like, all right, if they're getting rid of the physical copies, cool. Remove the physical copy. You're not going to do it anymore. Would it be a price difference? And Sega feels they should, right? Because I was like, how much could it really cost to produce disc, case, paperwork, pamphlet, right? It can't be much. So I don't see them cutting prices on that. But when they're sitting there and they're selling you, like in GTA, they're selling you the game as a digital code inside a box. Like, it doesn't even help to argue, like, oh, they don't want to do the packaging. They're trying to save money on packaging, because you're still putting the fucking packaging out just with a goddamn code in it. Like, there's shit to do with packaging.
So that's the opposite side, right? Because again, with Nintendo, game key cards. I mean, John, do you want to explain that fuckery? Because I sure as shit can't.
My understanding is that the game key cards were made for people who didn't want to pay, like for companies that didn't want to pay the extra cost for a larger cartridge, because nothing is on the cartridge. The cartridge just gives you your license to download the game, and that's your proof that you own the game. So essentially, the game key cartridge, my understanding, is a blank cartridge that's actually the smallest Switch size cartridge that they had, and all it holds in there is the license. So you put it in, it tells your game, oh, you own this. Now you'll download it, and every time you want to play it, you just have to put the blank key card in after the first time you initialize it.
All right, cool.
All right,
so now
Joe?
that you explained that fuckery, right? How many, as someone that values physical collecting, which is a good portion of what we're talking about here, you know, obviously bashing Sony for their decision, which I do agree is shit. How many game key cards, Switch games, do you have? How many hunks of plastic do you have for the sake of just, hey, it's physical, but there's nothing fucking in here?
To be honest, I only own one game key card game, and had I realized it was a game key card when I bought it, I would not have bought it.
That's fair.
And I only got it because Best Buy was like, here's $20 for your birthday. You have to use it by such and such a day. And so I bought the new Sonic Shadow X Generation game for the Switch 2, and I didn't know it was a game key card. And so when it was delivered to me, I'm like, crap. And then I read the rest of the thing and said if I returned it, I lost the money. I didn't get it back. I'm like, well, I'll keep it, but I never opened it. And Pokopia was only a game key card or downloading it. So I'm like, all right, you're going to put me in that position. I'm just going to download it. I'm not even going to get the game key card. That's stupid, and I'm not going to do it.
Yep. Which was a lie on their part, because that's a first party title that's a game key card.
So, Joe, you're using self-checkout wrong at Walmart. Okay. Anybody who knows that when you go to self-checkout, everything is buy one, get one free. You're just doing it wrong. Everybody knows that.
No, everybody knows you take your PS5 out of the box, you put it in a different box for something that's significantly cheaper, you ring it up, and you leave.
Well, yeah, no, you are a rookie. What you do is you go find, in the deli section, you go find some meat. You take the sticker off, you paste it on the bottom of the UPC on the PlayStation 5, and then you go pay, for a pound of ham for a PlayStation 5. That's what you do. Joe, you're doing it wrong. Do better.
Sony advise you guys to do any of this stuff. Actually, this is just jokes.
No, I advise you to do all that stuff.
No, you don't.
I do.
No, you don't.
Speaking of things you may or may not want to consider doing, Sony is forcing us into a potential future where they actually pulled their head out of their ass and decide to do something with Bloodborne again, whether it's remaster it or a sequel. How in the fuck, when I'm pissed off at the game and a boss is wrecking my shit, how am I going to pull out the disc to toss it like a fucking frisbee when I lose?
First of all, Victor, how much experience do you have with bosses wrecking your shit? Is that like a weekly thing? Saturday nights, like, what are we talking about
I'm
here?
just saying, there's no physical disc anymore. So, if I'm frustrated at the game, I can't eject the shit out of nowhere and toss it like a frisbee across the yard when I'm pissed off at it. I can't.
I've
do
only
that.
seen one person do that ever.
I feel personally attacked, and so to set the record straight, it was Gears of War 2, and it was after title update. It wasn't 6. That's the one everybody blames, but the one before 6 actually is what broke the game.
Yes, if we've agreed on that, we're the only ones who remember that shit.
Yeah.
So is that the only time?
Is that the only time I've ever taken a game out of the disc drive and thrown it like a frisbee? It is.
Bullshit.
I have
But
I've done the other things.
yes,
Game disc.
Bullshit.
Like I have thrown my Nintendo DS behind me against the wall. I've kicked my GameCube across the floor of a living room. I've thrown my controller down.
I have first.
he can't deny any of this because I was there for all of them.
Been in your dad's house when you've ejected a game, I believe from your GameCube, took it outside at like 10 o'clock at night and frisbeed that bitch across your lawn.
I mean, I don't recall that. If you're talking about the incident with Che with Madden, I didn't throw a game disc. I picked up a cinder block and threw it.
No. You.
But listen, I will say the rage goes all the way back to the N64 when I was playing the slobber knocker mode in WWF No Mercy, and I got to like the last person, and I went to punch them, and they caught my punch and immediately submitted me. I had the N64 control, and I just snapped it like that, and it broke. Yeah. And then I broke a cabinet playing NFL Street on the GameCube. So, yeah, I mean, sometimes the rage gets the best of you.
Yeah, see, Mraz, he calls bullshit on that.
Okay, first
So
off,
Victor, Joe does want to know, how do you sit for over an hour if bosses are wrecking your shit all the time?
I was going to address that and say, well played, sir. But right after it,
but the joysticks are not a fucking game disc. I don't understand what you guys see. I said I don't throw game. I threw one game disc. It was Gears 2.
No, I was at your house and I witnessed you eject it and throw that bitch across your lawn like a frisbee. To the fact that you couldn't find it that night, and the next day we woke up and we had to go out there and you found it in your neighbor's lawn next to their truck.
I mean, like I said, I don't recall that at all. I recall Gears of War 2 because we're playing it and somebody hopped over the shield in through the wall to kill our leader that we were protecting. And I just, at that point, I'd had enough. And I just pulled the disc tray out, grabbed the disc, went out in the front porch and
yeah, man, they were probably lag switching. Get fucked. Like, that's just how it was back then. That shit happened in Call of Duty also.
Luckily for me, I never played that game. I learned by watching you rage over it day in and day out, and I'm like, yeah, I don't need that kind of rage in my life. I'm good.
He was going against the machine.
Now,
so it's only fair, right? We called me out in that, right? So I mean, first off, yes, I definitely remember the drumstick thing, but it's not technically a game, so whatever. But you know, my rage came from at the time when the first Modern Warfare existed. One of the gamer cred achievements was the Mile High Club. So it was doing not even the end of the game, but like the bonus mission on Veteran. And so I threw myself at this for like a day straight. And I got so fucking mad at that shit. But I'm a sucker for punishment, so I kept fucking going for it.
Sucker for Dick Tracy.
I just kept fucking going for it. You know, hence the statement from earlier about getting my shit wrecked for bosses, because I'm not the best at Souls likes. I like them. That doesn't mean I'm great at them.
Is Mirage one of your bosses?
No, listen. So you can't believe a goddamn thing that Mirage says, right? Because I remember Mirage raging when we were playing New Super Mario Brothers Wii, and Victor and I kept dropping him into holes just to get rid of him because he couldn't keep up with us. He didn't know how to play the game properly, so we'd purposefully like hop on his head and he'd fall down a hole, And then when he came back and you had to pop the bubble, we'd only pop it as we were jumping over another expanse, so he'd fall back into the hole. So we get rid of him, so we could actually beat the damn level. Mraz, he's got no say in this.
See, and then like so, Psycho, he gets like that. When I play games, if I get pissed off, I don't throw shit, I don't fling discs, I don't do none of that. I get verbally abusive to the TV and the character in the game. I start calling it every goddamn name there is. I talk so much shit. Like I'll be sitting there and Psycho will be fucking sitting by and he'll be dying because I'm like verbally abusing this game until it wished its mother had swallowed it. Like that's my goal. But I never got physical and threw shit. I may have like gotten pissed off, like God damn it, and maybe like dropped a mic, a controller. But I've never angrily put a fucking controller through a wall.
So
I try to kill my neighbor with a disc.
I wasn't going to do this, but I'm seeing a comment in chat. I can see Psycho ripped the wires out of the Nintendo because Chris kicked his ass in Street Fighter. All right, time to go bike riding. No more video games.
I mean, it would be something like that, but it wouldn't be Street Fighter.
So
because any game like that, Psycho sucks to play against, right? Because all he'll do is hit the fucking button to reverse. He'll just try and reverse everything you fucking do, and it's really gay. Like it's like when you're sitting there, you're playing someone who's just button mashing like one move. That's what he does, but with reversals, and it's like, oh my god, this is fucking annoying. So
forget your traditional fighting game, even though it is, regardless of what Nintendo tells you. The quick path to rage, right?
So the quick path to rage is this: is that me and Psycho play a football game, and I'm on his team, and then he's playing Che, and then I make the guy jump the wrong way, causing Che to get a touchdown
on purpose.
No, I just hit a button and it went the wrong way. It doesn't fucking matter. Causing Che to get a touchdown, and Psycho doesn't like to let Che get points. He likes to make Che lose like 300-0 because that's what he gets off on. He got so fucking mad that time he walked outside, grabbed a cinder block, and threw it across the yard.
Yeah,
because that happened.
So I mean, that's a little bit of an over exaggeration. You can only win in Madden 255-0, right?
Oh,
so like,
my bad.
255 is the most that the game keeps track of. Back in the GameCube days, I don't know what it is now because I have not done that. But no, I don't rip the wires out of things, Joe. Like Victor said, like we were talking about earlier, playing Mario Party on the DS, and I just was like, yep, threw the DS behind me. I wasn't ripping the wire out. I kicked the GameCube across the floor, but luckily for me, Nintendo products are made to last, and so
hold on. But the controller that you broke in half, technically you're ripping wires out.
Touche.
So
I don't know. I only hit my. I couldn't tell you which specific games they were because there was a lot of hard shit back in the day. But that, I guess, died when I was a kid because somewhere in this fucked up brain is like,
just like our innocence.
Controllers cost way too much money to be flinging across the fucking room, right? But back then, when you didn't have any fucking responsibility, and also you could just get used controllers for like way cheaper, maybe I'm just pulling an example out of my ass, Contra Hardcore, and it's wrecking my shit, which I'm going to use that quote again. And it's wrecking my shit. So, that Genesis controller might
Victor,
just
you must go to the bathroom in like split seconds. Jesus Christ, with how much your shit gets wrecked. Holy crap.
The Sega controller might just get thrown into a fucking wall. I could just buy another one.
Buy another one, you rich motherfucker.
That's right.
Jesus.
Yeah, but I mean, with Nintendo controllers, you didn't have to buy another one unless you broke it in half like I did. But that was only because of the design of the GameCube controller with the 3 prongs made it easy to just.
But see, that's why I said Sega controller.
Yeah, like
because I've done it when there was hard games on the Nintendo. What about Silver Surfer?
Yeah, all you
that deserved a controller throw or 20.
Superman 64.
All you gotta do is watch a nerd video. Like you'll see the games that make you rage.
Absolutely.
So, was there any other aspect of this fucking news from Sony that we haven't touched on that you feel is important for the evening?
I mean, I think it's important to say that
Sony sucks.
this is only the beginning, right? Like now that Sony has taken this first jump, it's only a matter of time before Microsoft says the same thing. Well, you know what? If Sony's going to stop, then we're going to stop, right? And I think it was just kind of people were afraid to be the one to say it. And now that somebody said it, people are going to go with it. The same way that Victor said it was Nintendo who first tested the water of an $80 game. But I also told Victor this, like, I don't want to pay more for video games, but the fact that video games had been $60 since, I don't know, 2001, 2002, right? Like, I understand that 20 years later, with the cost of inflation, it was probably time for games to go up in price.
Oh, Fat Joe was a bastard. Sorry. In Def Jam Fight for New York, Fat Joe was a bastard to beat.
That's great.
No, that's actually what happened to me when I broke the cabinet, my entertainment unit, in my room because I was playing NFL Street and I was playing the Cleveland Browns, which everybody knows is the worst team in the NFL. Like back then, they were the worst team in the NFL. They couldn't do anything. And no matter what you did on this mission, if you ran and they hit you, you fumbled the ball. If you threw the ball, they intercepted the ball. There's nothing you could do, and you just had to get lucky. And so over and over and over and over and over, I'm playing this mission, and the Cleveland Browns are just wrecking me. And I got so mad, I kicked the entertainment unit, and I tore a door off the entertainment unit. And then I also broke part of it, so it was like slanted. It didn't hold up the way that it was supposed to. I had to like brace it with 2x4s so that it wouldn't fall apart. Those are good times.
No, they're not.
So they were good times.
So good luck to you, gentlemen, with the future of gaming. It sounds like you're about to have your shit wrecked a lot more.
To make my, like, I guess, closing statement, it's just sad, right? We went from back in the day, and this is asking for a lot nowadays, but it just so happens to be right here. And provided the condition is not great, but I had the opportunity to snag this physical Earthbound strategy guide, right? Like, these are things that would just come with the game sometimes. But to a lesser extent, you actually had manuals. And in the case of like JRPGs, especially when they first started rolling out, you had bigger manuals because you legitimately needed some form of a guide without using up your parents' money trying to call Nintendo Power, right? Yep. Like you needed, some companies did this, right? I remember the original Zelda book being like, to a lesser extent, right? It was a regular manual, but like it was cool. The illustrations were cool in it. As a kid, you take that shit, you buy it, or your parents bought it for you, or whatever the case is, and you spent the whole car ride looking at the back of the box and the instruction manual and this and that. Now, I guess go fuck yourself and look at a piece of plastic, right? And read the code 20 times. Like, what are you going to do, right?
Okay.
Like we've gone so far away from being able to enjoy a product to, well, just put this code in your Steam library or in your PlayStation account or in your Nintendo network. Or
Victor, is your house on fire?
No.
There's a lot of smoke coming from behind you.
Oh, that's my humidifier.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Like all of a sudden, either your house is on fire or you got a ghost. Like something's going on behind you.
I'm surprised it's taken this long for that to come up, but it's a humidifier. No, we're good.
Okay. And second, did you just flex on everybody by having our Earthbound fucking strategy guide?
I mean, I suppose I did, but yes.
Okay.
It helps illustrate the point. I was going to pull out like examples of like lesser stuff like through the years where it's like, oh,
Lesser
Yeah.
stuff. Here's just an expensive ass strategy guide for one of the more expensive Nintendo games.
I mean, the great part is it wasn't because someone clearly didn't realize what they had. I got provided it was a loose cart. It was Earthbound and the guide, provided it's in shit condition, but the guide at all. It was $60. Yeah, I
Yeah,
bought that
this,
shit.
this was also several years ago too.
That's true too. But even so, even at that time, I had looked it up. Like the cart by itself was at least like $200, if not $300.
Oh, wow.
Wow, low price.
So, do you have closing statements, Psychopath?
No, not really. I mean, I think
Alright, good.
I think we've said everything that that needed to be said. It's unfortunate that it's happening this way because, like we said in the last video game podcast, like it's at the point where normal people like me are going to be priced out of gaming. Right? I've been gaming my whole life, but when those consoles hit $1,000, I can't afford that. Cost of memory going up, can't afford that. It's like, and the idea that I'll be buying games that could be taken away is not really something that I'm interested in. So, at this point, anyway, knock on wood, thank God for Nintendo. That $500 for the Switch 2 is looking pretty good right about now.
Until that raises in a couple months.
Yep, September 1st. If you don't have a Switch 2, go get one. September 1st.
Use
Yeah.
your Google search bar and yarg.
I can't tell people to fucking buy one get one free at fucking Walmart, but Victor can tell people to go fucking pirate ship some shit. But no, that's fine. Okay, whatever. So, all right. I guess with all that being said, I guess we're going to start winding this down.
Well, no, you said you had another topic that you wanted to discuss.
I wanted to, but I want to save that for Tony as well because I feel like that would be a lot of fun to be had with that topic. I wasn't realizing that we were going to go this deep also into this topic. So this went a lot deeper than I thought we were going. Because originally when you and I discussed it, no offense to you, Victor, you weren't supposed to be on the cast. So I was like, oh, between me and John, we're gonna have a few different topics. But once you mentioned Victor coming on, I was like, yeah, absolutely. And I knew from there that we're gonna stick on one topic. The other topic will be another night because it has nothing to do with video games at all. Like it's nothing even remotely in the same world.
I have no idea what Joe is talking about here. He says, and that's why you're a prime customer for digital download games.
So you don't throw the fucking games across the goddamn lawn, John.
I'll throw whatever the hell I want. I'll throw you across the lawn
Good luck.
like a lawn dart.
First, you'd have to catch me. Like that's not happening. So
I got a
you'd be able
car.
to pick me up. That's not happening. So, but yeah,
Catapult.
Victor, are you streaming again yet? Are you need anything to plug or slacking? I got you.
No, not quite. It could use more eyes. I have an entirely different name / YouTube / Twitch. So the name is Bluefull Boosting. It's a new journey. It's more focused, where I do, I guess, like vlogging content or more of what I'd like to put for vlogging content, like try to give like life / inspirational shit. But also I have for gaming specifically because I can't, gaming's big for me. I have a focus on the Phantasy Star series, and I currently have a bunch of parts up for a playthrough of the original Phantasy Star before it went online. So that's there, and will eventually evolve into much more vlogging content than is currently in there, but it's very fresh. And I figure, I guess, with everybody in here, it could use a few extra eyes. So
send me a link and I'll view it, and I'll also throw it in the comments section or in the notes and all that. So send me a link. I'll definitely throw it in at least in the show notes, wherever the hell they call them in the bottom of the fucking videos. Psycho, you got nothing to plug, I assume.
Nope.
You unoriginal bastard. used to be my thing. So just for people know, next week, Drinks and Toys. Who knows what the topic is? We'll know usually right before we start, or sometimes not even until after we start. Well, I would assume with San Diego Comic-Con coming up in a couple weeks that we will be discussing most likely predictions, wants, hopes from San Diego Comic-Con, whether it comes from collectibles, toys, and shit, and see how that goes. But next week for Collectors Hideout, next Thursday, we're gonna have different topics, but the main topic I want to discuss is I saw this thing the other day. Somebody had mentioned, I've seen other questions throughout the years, but somebody had mentioned the other day that Disney needs to stop remaking human versions of their classic movies, their animated movies. And they said they need to stop, especially when they have the Muppets that they can use and just remake all the animated movies with Muppets. So I love that idea. But then I also remember I see people post up over the years the idea of what movies would you want them to remake? Now, not just Disney, but anything across the board. What movies would you want them to remake with the Muppets, but remaining one character remains as a human? So what movie and which character would you keep as a human in said movie? I feel like this topic can go a hell of a lot of fun, which is why I want to give it more time than like 10 minutes at the end of a cast. So next week, we'll be discussing that. So bring your movies, bring your Muppets, and who's remaining in cast. Because I feel like it could be a good time. Because I gave Psycho an example. Like, could you imagine if they redid Die Hard with all Muppets and left John McClane as the only human? It would be fucking amazing. It would be an amazing movie. It wouldn't be overrated. And I might even say it's a Christmas movie then. Who knows? No? It's always good when Psycho shakes his head and sighs loudly. Thank you.
It is a Christmas movie already.
It's not a Christmas movie.
Stunners all around.
It's not a Christmas movie.
It is.
Parasite Eve is a Christmas game. Fight.
Sure. I have no idea what that is, so I'll take his word on it. But it's still not a Christmas movie. So, well, with that, we still got people going down here.
Yeah, the NECA King, Braveheart, but the only human is William Wallace. Austin Powers with just Dr. Evil as a human.
I feel like Austin Powers, the only human, I think that'd be the funniest would be if Mini-Me was the only human. Because he'd be about the same size as a Muppet already. Like, I feel that would be... Oh, man. But yeah, so that's Thursday night. Next week, Thursday night, 9 o'clock-ish. That's what we're going to be discussing. So everybody get your shit ready. Be in the chat. We're going to have fun with that one. Anything else, gentlemen, before we cut off?
I think we're good.
Yeah, that's pretty solid.
Beautiful. Well, everybody in the chat, go down, like, subscribe, follow, all that bullshit. If you enjoy what you're seeing, you want to be notified next time we're on, give us a like and a follow. Until then, we will see everybody later.